be 3 months, along with those who have had it not, and for those with children, their period shall be, they bring forth their burden, and whosoever keepeth his duty to Allah, he maketh his course easy. Now, the Tafsir writers confirm that this is talking about children. That verse is talking about children. Al-Jalalain says it, Ibn Kathir says it, I can list a few of them if you want me to. But what do you think about this? Do you think they're okay and correct in their translation of that?
Well, you've mentioned verse 3. Verse 4 is وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِضْنِ. You didn't actually mention it properly.
The reason why I didn't mention that is solely because the Tafsir writers have said this is referring to young children.
But you're mentioning verse 3, 65:3.
No, sorry. If I said, I apologize. If I said 65 verse 3, I apologize. It was 65 verse 4.
No, you just read out 65 verse 3.
Yeah. Okay. And I've just said, if I said 65 verse 3,
fine.
I apologize. I meant 65 verse 4. Now 65 verse 4.
Thank you for apologizing.
I've already done it.
You might be doing a lot more of that today.
You can get big-headed as you want, I don't care.
That's fine, good. So
it's not really a good trait, is it, Mohammed?
It's no problem.
It's not a good trait, man.
Okay.
You need to humble yourself a bit. You know that book?
Thank you for
humbles yourself a bit?
Thank you for your advice, my friend. Thank you for your advice. No problem.
I always give advice to someone who's here to give advice.
Oh, thank you so much.
Man. And I hope you come to Jesus, bro.
I'll need your barber's number so I can give him a couple of pointers and pieces of advice as well.
Do you?
You're the one who does your hair.
That's funny, because I need somebody to deal with your hair, man. It's fine. I'm fine.
Anyway, so I'll say, look.
Okay, so
in regards to what you've said, I think there's an element.
As I've said, Al-Jalalain, Ibn Kathir, and every tafsir writer I've claimed claims that the verse in question is referring to an iddah. That iddah is the period of waiting for divorce, right?
Agreed.
And that period of waiting for divorce, 3 months, is for children as well.
I'll tell you the truth.
So your God is okay with marrying children?
Okay, no, it's fine. Let me answer your question.
What?
It's true to say that if you read the tafasir and the exegesis of chapter 64 verse 4, especially on the part where it says وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِضْنِ, it does mention women that are pregnant, it does mention postpartum women, but it also does women that have never had a period before. That's true, and if someone tries to do inkar of that or reject that, then they will be...
And it mentions children as well?
Well, I'm saying women that have never had a period before.
It doesn't say women, it says children. Ibn Kathir clearly says it mentions children.
Yeah, no,
do you want me to read it out again?
No, fine.
I'll read it out to you.
I'm telling you, listen.
Allah the Exalted clarifies the waiting period of the woman in menopause, and that it is one whose menstruation has stopped due to her older age. Can I finish?
Do you know why it says women?
Can I finish?
The verse says women.
Can I finish? Can I just finish? Can I allow my place? Then you talk. Right? I'll give you all the time. And that is one of those whose menstruation has stopped due to her old age. Her iddah, waiting period for divorce, is 3 months.
Who's iddah?
Who's iddah? This is waiting period for divorce.
No, but it says her iddah.
Her iddah.
Yeah, who's
this
her?
is referring to the woman in menopause.
Woman.
Woman. And now let me read the rest of it. Right? Her iddah is 3 months. Instead of the 3 monthly cycles for those who menstruate, which is based upon the ayat in Surah Al-Baqarah. The same for the young who have not reached the years of menstruation. Their iddah is 3 months. So you can marry and divorce children in Islam.
Okay, let me answer your question, right? No, let me understand. First of all, the verse itself says "min nisaikum," from your women,
Right.
So women you've asked me where the verse itself mentions women,
And this is mentioning young children. So you got a problem with the early tafsir?
Let me ask you. Yes, no, I don't have a problem with them. No, I don't.
You say you don't?
No, I don't have a problem.
So when they say young child,
are you asking me a question now, or are you just going to
continue?
All right, so let me answer your question, right? So it's true to say that...
when I'm ready.
All right. No, it's fine. It's true to say that aqdun nikah.
Right.
The aqdun nikah is a marital contract.
Right.
Can be done with anybody at any age.
Of course,
Yes? This is something which you didn't know that. But the sexual interaction...
No, I did know that, man.
Okay, fine. Maybe you did know it. You're a great scholar of Islam.
But you go on like you're a great scholar, mate. Let's be honest.
Fine.
Let's not crack wires,
Fine.
Not helping you.
No problem.
Go on.
So what I'm saying is, scholars of Islam differentiate between two things.
Right.
They differentiate between aqdun nikah, which is a contract, and when, for example, the woman can engage in sexuality.
What scholars are these, bro?
And let me tell you what the evidence for that is.
No, what scholars are these? What scholars are these?
For example,
early, like Ibn Kathir?
Yeah.
So what are they? Do you know the names?
Yes.
Can I write them down?
Yes.
Let's get the names.
Let me get you the names here. For example, An-Nawawi mentions that in his Sharh of Hadith, where he mentions the hadith of why the Prophet ﷺ married Aisha. He done the aqdun nikah at the age of 6, and then he consummated at the age of 9.
What years after Hijra is it?
Pardon?
What years after Hijra is it?
400 and something. I don't know, 440 maybe.
Right.
Yeah, after Hijri. I don't know exactly.
And
Yeah?
Al-Nawawi was his name.
It's An-Nawawi, yeah. For example, do you know who else mentions it? For example, Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi mentions it in his book.
Ibn Qudama.
Yeah, Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi mentions it. So basically, the Hanbali scholars. What I'm saying to you is this: it's pretty much understood in Islam that you can do a contract of marriage, but that contract of marriage is not efficacious in the fullest sense until the woman is able to consummate the marriage. And that capability, which is referred to as istita'a in the books of jurisprudence, is mentioned as physical capability.
So
Yeah, so let me explain. No, it's a good point.
Hijab, you did say
Yeah, I know.
on camera
Let me
that
explain.
if you read the Quran on its own,
Fine.
you
Yeah,
could
accept.
literally
Accept.
marry a child.
I accept.
That was your word.
I accept. So you could argue the point that it's most explicit in the hadith. Why can you argue the point that it's most explicit in the hadith?
Right.
Because
only mentioned in the hadith.
No, let me tell you why it can be alluded to in the Quran, but it's mostly mentioned in the hadith. For number one, the scholars of Islam, the jurisprudential scholars, because really you have to differentiate between the exegetes and the jurisprudence. Yeah, it's fiqh and tafsir are two different things.
So what's wrong with the exegetes, though?
So no, there's nothing wrong with them.
They're early.
No, what they're saying is
They're
right.
tested.
What they're saying.
wrong with them?
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. I've not said that. All I've said is that they're saying that the contract can be done, but that it's not efficacious in the fullest sense, where intercourse between the two parties can happen until the woman is ready.
So
how do we
who
know
makes
that?
this stipulation? Who makes this stipulation?
So they, like I said, the Islamic scholars, they deducted it from the fact that the
So
Prophet
Muhammad and Allah don't make this stipulation.
Yes,
correct?
they do. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Where's Muhammad made that
So
stipulation?
as I said, they look at it from the fact, the scholars look at it from the fact that he married at the age of 6, that there was a marital contract, but that he did not do, jima', or he did not do intercourse, so there was no intimacy until
the
3
age of
years.
9.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they look at that and they say, well, that's good evidence that even though, no, it's not correction, it's called specification. So it's good evidence for the fact that the contract can be put in place, however, that it's not efficacious until the person becomes capable. Now, how do we know?
So
who determines?
Who determines whether she's capable?
Good. That's a good question.
There's also hadith that claim that silence means her consent.
Good. No.
And also, we see
misunderstood that.
instances within hadith. I'm not misunderstanding anything. We see
How do you
instances
know?
within
How do you
hadith.
know? How do you know?
I know because I've read it. Right. We see
What's the
instances-
hadith? What's the hadith?
We see instances within the hadith
Yeah.
where Aisha's taken by Muhammad and he beats her.
Okay.
Beats her till she's queen.
Now that's a different topic.
So
We
if
can
a
bring that
science
up.
week could be
I reject that.
He obviously was.
I reject that.
You reject.
Yeah, I reject it.
So
Yeah.
you reject hadith.
No, I reject your understanding of it. Let me go back to the first
So
point.
beating her till she's green
No.
is my understanding, correct?
Wallahi, if you find me any hadith that says that the Prophet ﷺ, I dare you to find one single hadith where the Prophet ﷺ beat Aisha when she's green. You're a liar. You are a liar. Hold on. Second thing is, let's get to Christianity in a second, yeah? But let's
We're
just...
not getting to Christianity.
No.
Then we'll go to
Yeah,
Christianity.
fine.
I don't mind.
Fine.
So I'm
Yeah,
good with it.
let's deal with Islam first, because we don't have anything to hide. I'm saying to you now, the first thing is, you stated, what is the evidence? I told you that the scholars of jurisprudence
That
say
come
that...
100 years after the Prophet and your God, by the way.
No, I understand, but it's true. That's true. However,
That's true.
what's also
so there's
true...
nothing in your soul. If I took the Quran alone, remember
hold on.
the Quran itself says in chapter 15, verse 1, that it is a clear book. So if I took the Quran on its own, I could literally rape a child.
No. Hold on. Let me answer your question.
Why is that funny? That's your religion.
No. Fine.
That's
Let me answer your question.
Your religion is
No, calm down, guys. Calm down, guys. There's nothing to... Guys, you're interfering. You're interfering, and don't interfere, please, yeah? Let's answer his question directly. As I've said, the hadith is that. Number 2 hadith, which is very important, is that's which mentioned in Nawawi's 40 hadith as well, which is la darar wa la dirar, which is that you're not allowed to cause harm or reciprocate harm. Now, the scholars of...
Sunan and the side, by the way. So continue, sorry.
It's also mentioned in the 40 hadith, okay?
No, I'm talking about the striking hadith.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Okay,
it's also mentioned in Sahih Muslim. You didn't know that.
You didn't know that. You said, show me where.
No, not green.
Not
green. There's nothing about greenery in the hadith.
So he beat her, but nothing about green.
No, I know
what
hadith.
So it's okay if he beats her.
No, I didn't say that. I said that the hadith that I know you're referring to is mentioned in Sahih Muslim.
He beat his wife, basically.
Did I say that?
No.
Did I say that? Okay, well, the people are watching you in disingenuity, right? I didn't say that I agree with
How am I
the
being
beating. Speak properly. Cat got your tongue, boy.
Yeah, it has literally got my tongue.
Cat got your tongue. No, speak.
No, I'll give you that.
Speak.
Disingenuous. I wasn't being indisingenuous.
Okay, no, it's not disingenuous. It's disingenuous, yeah?
I wasn't being
Okay, so your disingenuity is for all to see.
I wasn't being disingenuous.
Okay, let me be clear. All right, fine, let me answer your question. Fine, let me answer your
children and the soil.
Are you afraid to hear my response?
I'm not afraid of your response.
Fine, let me.
I've got no response.
Okay,
Go on.
okay. I've got my. You're not afraid of my response, but I've got no response.
You've got no response.
Okay, so let me respond. My response is this: is that the scholars of Islam, they consider one of the major objectives of Islam as not to cause or reciprocate harm unless there is injunction in the text.
And who are these scholars? They're later than your prophet. So how can we know?
They base it.
No, one minute. How can we know at the time of your prophet?
Yeah.
If we're at the time of prophet, how can we know that those same people believe that you had to wait a certain period to have sex with a child?
Okay, they did.
Bearing in mind, your own prophet.
No, we don't agree with what you just said.
Had sex with a child?
No, we don't. Listen, we don't agree with what you just said. Listen.
We don't agree with it. So
let me answer your question.
Go on.
To answer your question, the scholars of Islam, they look at like a Shatibi mentions in Muwafaqat, right? He says that in order to understand an objective of Sharia, you don't look at just one piece of evidence, you look at the combined pieces of evidence. So in the case of this principle of causing or the principle of causing and reciprocating harm is not as a result, he mentions, or the principle is ad-darar yuzal, that harm is to be averted. This is a principle in Islam. Unless there's enough.
Who was that principle sent down?
No, I'm telling you.
How can we know that it was sent from Muhammad?
Okay, you asked me a question. Can I answer it, please?
Go on.
Yeah, fine.
Go on.
So Shatibi mentions in Kitab Muwafaqat that in fact principles like this are more voracious than one piece of evidence, and the reason why he says is because it combines all pieces of evidence. So, for example, in this case, there's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad where he said himself.
Seems like a load of words.
Okay, fine. Maybe you don't understand it, but maybe
you're not bringing any points. That's the point.
So let me just say my words, and then you can say what you want. So the Prophet Muhammad he mentioned the hadith, "La darar wa la dirar." There is no harming or reciprocating harm. And he mentioned another hadith, "La darar wa la idrar." So it's another way of saying the same thing, but with more emphasis on reciprocating the harm.
So no bringing harm. Is that no reciprocating harm?
Yeah.
So why did your prophet harm Aisha?
I'm explaining to you that there's no evidence of that.
I just shot Sunan an-Nasai.
No, hold on.
He said,
hold on.
So you got a black shape that I saw in front of me. And he said, yes.
Yeah.
He struck me in the chest, which caused me pain. Then he said, did you think that Allah and his messenger would deal unjustly with you? I said, whatever the people conceal, he knows. So Sunan an-Nasai, hadith 2039.
Okay, let me answer it.
So you've been exposed.
No, I haven't been exposed. Let me answer you.
According to Muhammad, it's okay to beat somebody.
Would you like me to answer you? All right, fine. First and foremost,
you're not helping yourself.
First and foremost, Aisha herself, who's the narrator of that hadith, mentioned in another hadith.
So that means it's wrong.
Can you let me speak?
Continue. Go on.
All right. So Aisha, who's the narrator of that particular hadith, who supposedly said he struck me in my chest to cause me harm, which I reject the translation of, because if you bring the Arabic, it's not darabani. He didn't mention that at all. The word daraba is not even mentioned in the hadith. Just to let you know.
Let's just hide behind the Arabic.
It's not. No, just calm down. Calm down. Just let me finish. First of all, the word.
You're not bringing any points. The word. It's just like telling me Arabic.
You're not listening.
See, now you're starting. You can see what's happening here, right?
It's okay. Let him
I'm asking questions.
He's still gonna fall.
Go on. Continue. I'm shaking, Amar. Your prophet shook.
Okay. So you're trying to be disrespectful. We're not trying to be disrespectful. We're trying to point points. Let me deal with the points. You're going to another tangential point.
Go to the point.
First of all, the hadith inside Muslim, does not mention darabani, and I challenge you, which means hit, to strike or whatever, which is mentioned in 434, the same word. Fadribuhun. That's not even mentioned in the hadith. So I challenge you to find the opposite of that. Number two.
It's not my problem.
No. And then I'll give you something which is hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. The second thing, which is even more damning for you, is that Aisha herself. Just let me finish the point. I know. Okay. Can you see?
I said I'm not talking.
Can you see?
Second point.
He's anxious. He's very anxious.
I'm really not. This is the funniest stuff.
Would you like a beta blocker?
Would you?
No, I'm alright.
I think you need one.
I'm not the one who's.
You sound like a beta male right now.
Sorry?
I said you sound like a beta male right now.
Beta blocker means a propranolol. It's a drug that brings your heart rate down.
I don't need any of that, mate.
Maybe you do. Okay, look, you're shaking and shivering.
So if Muhammad shook and quivered,
only if there's an extraneous variable which substantiates the shaking.
So revelation, him sweating and shaking.
Yeah, he met God. You're meeting me.
He met God. How do you know I'm not meeting God? How do you know I'm not meeting God? How do you know I haven't got God inside?
Met a demon.
He met God. You're meeting me.
How do you know that I'm not receiving revelation from Allah?
All right.
How do you know that I'm not receiving revelation from Allah?
Fine. Can we go to the point?
How do you know?
Can we go to the point?
No, you brought the shaking. So how do you know I'm not receiving revelation?
Listen, you're running away. You are running away.
You're the one's running away.
Let me
stop shaking.
Make the point.
So I'm showing your prophet shook.
Okay, no problem. So
it's not a problem. Okay. So if he's not a problem, I'm no problem.
See, look how he's talking.
Okay, let's run.
Second point is that Aisha herself said the Prophet never hit one of his wives. In a hadith that's narrated upon her in Bukhari, she said that the Prophet never hit any of his wives.
So the hadiths contradict each other.
No, they don't, because you look, the word
What do you mean
dana.
they don't? He struck her.
Okay, no, let me explain. If your translation of the hadith,
It's not my translation. It's Muslims. It's not me. I didn't make this
well,
up.
I'm translating the hadith for
Everything
you. I'm a Muslim,
is
right?
wrong. The
Irrelevant.
websites, the
You're one
hadiths,
Muslim.
Even this is
And there's a lot of Muslims. One minute, guys. Yeah?
Even Sahih
There's many
al-Bukhari
Muslims
is
that
wrong.
disagree with you, Mohammed.
Websites are wrong. Sahih al-Bukhari is wrong.
So you're not a judge of jurisprudence over.
Everyone can see the desperation in the air.
You're not a judge.
I'll let you squirm.
You're not the
Please
judge.
squirm.
Mohammed
Please
Hijab is
squirm.
not the judge of
Squirm
jurisprudence.
in front of
threw
me.
the hadith under the
I
bus.
enjoy it.
Hijab is not
Just threw the
I enjoy
hadith
it.
under the
Look how he's
bus.
squaring.
Sahih hadith, he just
I'm
threw
not.
it
I'm
under
not.
the bus.
Hijab.
Look how they're both squirming.
Hijab.
Son,
Hijab.
how are you, sir? You okay?
Hijab.
Are you done?
I'm
Are
not
you
scared of you.
Are you squirming?
I'm not scared of you.
You're quivering and shaking, and you're
I'm not
squirming.
scared of you.
And your guy is
I'm gonna be
getting
honest.
shouting.
Ever since I've come to this park for 2 years, and you saw me 2 years ago, all right? I've always done this. I've always done this.
Everything in Islam
About
is
everybody.
false.
And it's recorded. So
Just
I'm not
throw
scared
it
of you.
under the
Alright,
bus.
fantastic.
We're not all scared of you.
Alright,
Maybe these
Throw
are. I'm
Islam
not
under
scared of
the-
you.
No problem. Are we done here?
So continue with your
So
point.
my point is for 3 steps. That is just to answer your question. Yeah. If your point is that if you look at the Quran alone, without reference to the Hadith, can you justify intercourse with prepubescents, or would you have a stronger argument? I'll say you would have a stronger argument without the Hadith, but we don't accept the Quran without the Hadith. That's why we look at the Quran and the Hadith.
So
And
then the Quran only
upon doing
goes
so,
with
it
What hadith says that you cannot have sex?
that's not how the Hadith works. Just to let you know. No,
So no hadith says that you cannot have sex with a
that's
minor.
wrong. No, hold on.
So
You
hadith
said
doesn't say
according to the
that.
hadith we cannot have sex with you. That's what you said.
No, what I'm saying is the hadith works in the following way. It's not just like you have to have, for example, a saying. So the actions of the Prophet are also considered to be something that we the Muslims follow. The sayings of the Prophet, the iqrar of the Prophet, or what the Prophet affirms or doesn't affirm. This is what
So we can interpret our own traditions the way we want, and if we don't like something, we'll just reinterpret it.
No, I mean, even you accept the
That's
same.
your religion.
Hold on.
That's your religion.
Calm down, man.
Your religion.
Calm down.
Go on,
So anyway, well, now you have to be disingenuous, right?
I'm being disingenuous. That's just the same old
No
argument
problem.
again.
Okay.
It's not
So
disingenuous.
now
you
that
don't
we're-
interpret your religion how
Just
you
to-
want,
just to sum-
and anybody says it's paedophile is wrong and a Catholic.
Okay, just to summarize the point, yeah, you asked the question
Yeah, go on.
about chapter 65, verse 4. I did not negate the fact that some scholars of exegesis and hermeneutics have said in the past that this refers to prepubescence.
The ink of the Ummah, Ibn Abbas said it.
And listen,
It was called the ink of the Ummah for a reason.
Sorry?
The ink of the Ummah, Ibn Abbas said it.
Okay.
Right? Jalalain says it.
Okay.
Ibn Kathir says it.
What did I just hear him say?
So you don't deny that?
I just said I don't deny the
Would
fact.
you say they're wrong on that fact?
No, I didn't say they're wrong either.
You didn't say they're
What
wrong.
I said is the way this is to be understood
What?
is that there is a contract can be done before, but that the woman when she gets to an age of puberty now she has a choice, and the evidence of that is what the Prophet ﷺ said, "Al bikru to sta'dhan," that the virgin or the person who's not been married before has to be asked permission before marriage. That's an evidence. The Prophet's saying.
Have you got a hadith for that? I need
Yeah, it's called al bikru to sta'dhan, and I'm saying it to you in Arabic.
The hadith?
Yeah, al bikru to sta'dhan. Which mentioned Bukhari.
What I need you to do is like later, like show me a link or something because I need that actually.
No problem.
to
Which is
look
why
up.
Shawkani and others have said that.
You can just say it. We'll catch it on
Anyway,
camera.
look,
Just say the reference.
Yeah. He's already said it.
I've just said it. So fine. So that's number one. Number two, we've said now, harming is not okay. So someone can ask the question which you did and I didn't answer it. So let me answer it now. You said, how do you determine if the person is able or capable for sexual intercourse? The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said in another hadith, he said, "Man tatabbaba wa lam yakun bit-tibbi ma'rufan fa asaba nafsan fa huwa dhamin." Whoever pretends to be a doctor and he's not actually a doctor, and then he harms somebody, then he is accountable. The Quran also says, "Fas'alu ahli dhikri in kuntum la ta'lamun." Go and ask the people of knowledge if you don't know. Meaning here that Islam gives rights to doctors. And
That's
specialists.
nothing to do with what I just said.
Of course it does. Let me tell you why.
Was Muhammad a doctor?
No, let me explain what I'm saying. Because the question of harm, especially if we talk about physical harm, it seems to me to be a medicinal issue, right? So the question of, okay, if a person, like for example, she's 50, let's say in this country the concerned is 16 years old, right?
Yeah.
All right. You are maybe like 21 years old, right? 22, something like that.
I'm 27, mate.
All right, you look young, which is very, very nice, yeah? A strapping young man like yourself, you know.
Please don't hit on me.
No,
I am not gay.
Okay, no problem. I'm not hitting on. If that's how you interpret hitting on, that's fine.
I'm joking.
Okay, no problem. No worries. I'm trying to pay you a compliment.
I know.
After all the negative energy.
It's a bit mean-spirited.
No problem. You don't need to apologize. All I'm going to say is that a man like yourself, right? You, for example, can have intercourse with a 16-year-old in this country, okay? Now, this 16-year-old might be emaciated. This individual might be malnourished, might be weak. You might be able to grab her like this and then the collarbones fall off, right? This might be a weak individual. Now, Islam would say, although it's legally possible for you and, I'm not going to say me, but just anybody to have, let me put it another way, right? You've got a 100-year-old woman.
Right.
There's no law that prevents me to have intercourse with a 100-year-old. But once again, if I go to the care homes and we're outside and, and then just, no, honestly, and then I get, and I,
Would a 100-year-old know what sex is?
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll be they'll be able to comprehend what sex is.
Yeah.
They would know what marriage is.
Fine.
A 6-year-old girl wouldn't know what marriage is.
No,
a
but
9-year-old girl wouldn't know what sex was.
No, let me explain.
Aisha was playing with dolls.
Okay, now hold on. You're going from one thing to another. You're going
Really
from
not. It's
All
all
I'm
in
saying
the-
to
it's all in the paradigm of Islam.
all I'm saying to you, the paradigm of Islam says this: if you have intercourse with a 15-year-old, 14-year-old who is before the age of consent, but she's voluptuous and big hips and ready for action, where there's no harm, but then when you have sex with a 99-year-old and you do it with her one time, she drops dead and goes to the graveyard, Islam will say actually one of them is more morally incorrect than the other. And
Islam would say that silence is a consent. You could have sex with the old woman and you could have sex with a 15-year-old.
No, it wouldn't.
And in fact, it also says in your hadith that anybody younger than 15 is a child.
No, listen. If by having sex, no, Islam will say if by having sex with a 95-year-old woman or 80-year-old woman, you're going to cause her considerable harm and or injury, which you would agree with, right? That such a thing would not be allowed in Islam. I'm saying the same thing applies to women who are making their transition to puberty. Do you understand the Islamic concept now? So although legally, for example, if I wanted to have a marriage contract with a 95-year-old, I can. I mean, it's going to be valid. Now, the thing is, it might be valid, but the rights now that I'm going to be owed in a normal marriage contract are not going to be the same. I can't say, the angels are going to be cursing you if you don't give me intercourse every night the way I like it, yeah? So, do you understand?
So explain to me why Mohammed didn't follow these principles, because he married
I'm saying that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the one who established those principles.
Hear what I'm saying? She had sex with her at 9 years old. By the way, if you look in history, when 9-year-old girls or people, even a bit older, like 13, when they were pregnant, they would die. So your God was okay with your prophet having sex with a child who could potentially die.
He said himself, and he's a man of his word. He said, when we're done with Islam, we move to Christianity. I'm saying, fine, he doesn't mind, because he doesn't. But what I'm saying to you is, all I'm saying to you is as follows: that you said these principles were established by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you understand this?
According to who?
Now, according to all the fuqaha, according to the usuliyun.
No, according to men who came hundreds of years later who didn't even know your prophet.
Okay, no problem. So
what do you mean no problem? So your religion doesn't come from Muhammad, it doesn't come from Allah, it comes from people who existed hundreds of years later.
No, but what I'm saying is, why that's important though, what's your name again?
My name's John.
John.
Yeah, John.
So John, the reason why this is still important is because these individuals are not affected by Western apologetics or liberalism, because they came way before.
I'm not even talking about Western apologetics.
I understand that.
God.
No, what I'm saying. Hold on, let me.
I'm questioning
one at a time.
God's morality.
What I'm saying to you is this.
Yeah.
I am saying to you clearly that those scholars that came before time, it wouldn't have been socially unacceptable for them to make that proclamation in their times. So they had no motivation to lie upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that manner. In fact, some of their opinions, if we had brought them to the public, would be seen as aberrational, to say the least. The point I'm making to you is that yes, there has been a group of scholars that have interpreted the religion of Islam in the way that I've just said. But
what's the age of consent in Islam then? What would you consider it?
There isn't an age of consent in Islam.
So why is it there's a hadith that's saying anybody who's younger than 15 is a child?
Okay, so the Malikis, for example, that's the upper limit, not the higher limit.
Right.
So in other words, for the Malikis, there's a difference of opinion here. But for example, if you look at all four madhabs, the Shafi'i, the Malikis, the four madhabs of Islam, the Hanafis and who else? Who did I mention?
Hanbali, Salah, is it Salah? No, that's Salafi.
And the Hanbalis, right? If you look at all those, they have minimum and maximum ages. In fact, for example, Ibn Qudama mentions, the minimum age is 9 years old. You can't be an adult. You cannot even be an adult before 9. That's the Shafi'i view and that's the Hanbali view. So
that's actually more wicked than what your prophet's saying.
No.
Because your prophet's basically saying anybody who's younger than 15 is a child. But this guy Hanbali is basically saying as well.
No, let me explain. So let me. Do you want to speak properly or not? All right. Okay. Fine. So what I'm saying to you is this: is that in Islam, certain signs have to be in place in order for someone to be considered an adult.
Right.
Now, there's a difference between there's a difference between taklif, when you'll be morally accountable in Islam, and because there's a hadith that says, what do you call it, rufi al-qalim an thalath, and one of them is that as-sabiyu hatta yahlub, that the pen has been lifted on 3 people. So there's an eschatological dimension, which is that God doesn't hold to account children.
The pen has been. What do you mean the pen that Allah has an eternal that's next to him? And that's
No, this is more of a metaphoric expression. The pen has been lifted, meaning that they're not accountable, right? So the pen has been lifted on 3 sets of people. One of them is the young one until they become pubescent. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, you can be pubescent but not fit for marriage. That's what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying as soon as someone does puberty, they're ready for sex and marriage.
The hadith, there's hadith that say her silence equals her consent.
Okay, let me explain the hadith, because you mentioned it a few times. Her silence equals her consent means that if you ask her and she does not object, and out of shyness she's quiet, then that is acquiescence.
Can children be shy or mute?
No, I'm not talking about
If
children.
they're in a disturbing, I'm talking about children.
Yeah.
Because Aisha was a child. That's a fact.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
No, that's what the hadith is saying.
What is a child?
A child is somebody who's younger than 15 according to your religion.
Oh, so no, hold on. According to my religion, it's not actually that. As I said to you. No. Let me explain.
I literally just read a hadith which those younger than 15 are children.
No, it's not true. There's no hadith like that.
Okay.
There's no hadith like that.
Okay.
There's no hadith like that.
There's no hadith like that?
No, there's no
You
hadith
heard
like
on
that.
camera he said there was no hadith like that.
There's no hadith like that.
Okay.
It's from, as we said, a child stops being a child if one of 4 things happen.
There's no hadith like that. You heard him say that.
No, let me explain. Can I tell you what the 4 things are? Or do you want to know?
No, I'm listening to you.
Do you want to know or not?
Well, I'm going to read this out.
Do you want to know or not?
I'm going to listen. No, I want to know. I know. Go on.
Because at the end of the day, we have to sharpen each other up. If this is the level of argumentation that you're coming with.
Hijab, you told me that there was no hadith mentioning that those younger than 15 are children.
There's no hadith like that.
That's what you told me.
There's no hadith like
so
that.
I'm showing you it.
It's not sahih. It's not authentic.
It's not authentic.
It's not authentic.
Okay then.
Because that would have sealed the conversation. The fuqaha have already told you that childhood ends at one of 4 things. One of 3 things for a male and one of 4 things for a woman. The three things for a male are when there's hair, like pubic hair in the areas and so on. If they have a wet dream, or what's the third
Okay,
one?
so this is Sahih Muslim, 1868. I've actually got a hadith.
And for the woman, it's menstruation. Yeah.
Right.
So these are.
Can I get to the point now and basically just destroy you on this point?
Please,
Can I just do that?
Hold on, let me finish.
I mean, come on. I mean,
let me finish.
You just lied to your own people.
Let me finish.
You lied on
Let me finish.
So let me just
Go
read
on,
this out.
read the hadith.
Right.
Read that.
Sahih Muslim, 1868. The Messenger of Allah inspected me on the battlefield on the day of Uhud. And I was 14 years old.
Okay.
He did not allow me to take part in the fight. He inspected me on the day of Kandak, and I was 15 years old. Permitted me to fight. Nafi said, I came to Umar bin Abd al-Aziz, who was then Caliph, and narrated this tradition to him. He said, surely this is the demarcation between a minor and a major.
Yeah, what is?
A minor's being a child and a major's being someone who's older.
Yeah, what
so
is?
he wrote to his strict governors that he should pay subsistence allowance to anyone who was 15 years old, but should treat those of less age among children.
Okay, let me explain.
Yeah.
So thank you. You said I was lying. You said I was wrong.
What you said
by your own scholars.
No, hold on. Can I
And
explain?
it's Sahih Muslim, so it's not even Sahih.
What you said.
No, I've already finished this debate.
Okay. Fine, you can leave if you like.
No, go Steve.
You're more than welcome to leave.
No, because you've already proven that you've lied. Basically.
Okay, you said that the Prophet Muhammad. You said that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that anyone below the age of 15 is a child. The hadith didn't say that at all.
It literally says that.
No, it doesn't say that. 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 No, it doesn't. The hadith does not. The hadith does not. No, sorry. Excuse me.
Seriously, I've already read it out twice.
Are you done?
Are you done? I've already read it
No,
out
I'm not
twice.
done. I haven't started yet, actually. So let me answer you.
Continue your point.
The hadith does not state, like you said on camera, and everyone can rewind it and play it and for their own leisure. Yeah. It doesn't say. The hadith does not say that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said in his words that anyone below the age of 15 is a child. The hadith does not say that. All it says was that you had these 2 boys who one of them had reached the signs of puberty because of pubic hair and so on, and that there was an inference by Nafi' and others, which I already told you, seeped its way into the Maliki school, where they accepted that the upper limit for the age of a child is 15. In fact, if you say that the age of 15 is a child's age, then that would be in my favor, because I'll say to you then that would define
the hadith is
you can marry
Muhammad.
Anyway, look, what I'm saying.
The hadith is quoting Muhammad.
He didn't say that. But anyone, what did he say? What did he say that?
I've read it out
Go on,
before.
what
The
did he say?
Messenger of Allah inspected me on the battlefield on the day of Uhud,
okay.
and I was 14 years old.
Right.
He did not allow me to take part in the fight.
Yeah.
He inspected me on the day of Kandak.
Okay.
I was 15 years old, and
Okay.
he permitted to fight. Nafi said, I came to Umar bin Abdul,
Yeah.
who was then caliph, and narrated this tradition to
So where
him.
does it say the Prophet said anyone below the age of
So
15?
what's the tradition, bro?
You just said that. Okay. Did you understand
who
this
gives
guy?
traditions in Islam?
Okay. You have.
Wouldn't that be Muhammad?
With all due respect, you have a comprehension issue here.
No, I
With all
don't.
due respect, because you said that the
This
Prophet
is-
said something. Words.
This is what Muhammad said.
What did he say?
It's a tradition from him.
He didn't say anything in that hadith.
He said, surely this is a demarcation
Who's he?
between
Who's
a
he?
minor
Who's
and a
he?
major.
Who's
It's
he?
not
It's
Umar
Nafa.
ibn
It's Nafa
Abd.
said that.
No, it doesn't say nothing.
It does say that. Read it all again. Read it all again, my friend. No, hold on.
No,
Let
it
me read it
says
again.
he came to
No,
Umar.
read the whole thing again.
I'm going to read it all again.
No, read it all again. Read it again.
The Messenger
No,
of
hold on.
Allah
No, I know what it
inspected me on the battlefield on the day of Uhud.
Yes.
And I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
He did not allow me to take part in the fight.
Yeah.
He inspected me on the day of Kandak, and I was 15 years old, and he permitted me to fight.
Yeah.
Nafi said, so he's talking about Nafi now. Yeah, fine. I came to Umar Abd, are you going to let me finish the thing? Al-Aziz, who was then caliph, and narrated this tradition to him. Who's the tradition from? Muslims, answer the question. Who's the tradition from?
Come on, please. Do
No,
it.
answer the question. Who's the tradition from?
What tradition?
Where do you lot get your traditions from?
Listen, calm down a bit. Calm down, please.
No, Hijab. Where do you get
Calm
your
down,
traditions
please.
from?
Calm down.
You
Wait,
get them
wait,
from
are we
Muhammad.
speaking
So
of
Muslims get
the
their traditions
Prophet
from
in that
Muhammad.
hadith?
So
There's no
Muhammad was saying.
Okay, no, Muhammad didn't say anything in that hadith.
So where did this come from?
Okay, let me explain something to you, please. Yeah? No, stop doing this.
Oh.
Just stop. You're showing your own desperation. You're desperado.
There is no desperation, bro.
You are
I'm
desperate.
reading what it
You are
says.
desperate.
Where do your traditions
Okay,
come
let me
from,
explain something to you. For something to be narrated upon the Prophet ﷺ as something that he said, it would have to have key words. The words are like sami'atu, I heard from the Prophet, or qala, or he said. None of those key words are there.
So why was this
and
written
as
down?
well.
Why
Yeah.
was this written down?
Let me explain to you. This hadith, even in the English that you've read, does not say, for all the GCSE students that are doing English literature comprehension.
That's funny because you're not even GCSE level at this point.
Fine. I can talk about that. No problem.
It is what it is, bro. It's not my fault you don't understand
I'm
what
not
the
GCSE
tradition
level.
is.
I tell my
Because
professors
in
at Oxford
Islam
that.
you have tradition.
When they gave me a
most of your
degree.
sources come from traditions.
What are your
Muslims.
qualifications, by the way?
What's my qualifications? Well, I'm a university student. I don't need to tell you the rest of that.
Okay, so you have not graduated yet.
No, I haven't.
All right, I've got 4 degrees.
That's fine.
So I'm higher than you, right?
That means nothing.
So why?
I didn't mean what?
No. You
It's
just
psychology.
Hold on.
That means nothing.
No, hold on.
You don't even know what I'm studying. I'm not going to tell you anyway. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
No,
What do you mean, excuse me? It has nothing to do with what I'm
You just said
saying.
I'm GCSE student level. So I have to prove to you that I'm not.
Well, come
higher
on,
than
bring
you.
the degree. You haven't even proved anything.
Okay, no problem. I'll bring them next
Okay, so
time.
now can we get back to the point?
Next thing is, we'll get back to the point.
Because we're just going on a
Since I've now put you in your
Right,
place.
it says here.
Now,
He-
let's
you
move
haven't
on.
put me anywhere,
Where did
bro.
the Prophet say it?
He said.
Where did he say it?
He said, surely this is demarcation
Who's he?
between a minor and a major.
Never said that.
Right. Bro, the tradition comes from Muhammad.
Okay. Now you're acting the fool. Either you are the fool or you're acting it, but I don't care.
Neither.
Look, now let's move on.
This is your hadith.
All right, fine.
This comes from
Okay,
your prophet.
well,
So
did he say it?
unless people just write hadith for the
problem.
sake of
No
it
problem.
and just
Okay,
quote random
okay.
man
I'm done.
for no good reason,
John.
this comes from your prophet.
Okay, fine, no problem. Thank you very much.
So if it comes from your prophet, your prophet
he didn't say
said,
it. He didn't say that.
you know what it is, But this hadith says that those who are younger than...
Doesn't say that.
Well, the hadith says that.
Doesn't say that.
The hadith says
No, it
those
doesn't.
who are younger than 15 are children. That's what the hadith
No,
says.
that's what Nafa said.
The hadith says that.
And what Nafa meant, like what is the contemporary Maliki opinion, is that the upper limit for adulthood is 15. That's what it means. Now we've
Doesn't even say that in the verse, mate.
It's not even a verse. Let's move on. You're
say
wasting
that
my
here,
time
in
as
the
well, like
hadith.
your friend.
Well, seriously.
I mean, you're wasting my time. You haven't even got... And after that, thou shalt go in
What verse?
unto her.
What verse is this?
The verses you just described.
No, that's fine. I just want to know. For why are you getting upset for?
It's because you keep asking me what verse.
No, I just want to know what number are you on now.
Okay, I'm on 12. So I'm on verse 12.
Beautiful.
Right?
Yeah, go on.
And I'll read it again.
Yeah.
Then thou shalt bring her home.
Yeah, bring her
to
home.
thine house.
To the house.
And she shall shave her head.
Shave her
and
head.
her nails.
Yeah.
Because she's in mourning. She shaved her
Of
head
course.
and her nails. Right.
Of course.
And she shall put off the raiment of her captivity from off her.
Of course.
And shall remain in thine house. And bewail her father and her mother a full month, obviously, because you're mourning.
Of course.
So, yeah, of course. And after that, thou shalt go in unto her.
Meaning what?
And be her husband. So you be her husband.
What does in onto her mean?
No, but what does husband mean?
Have
What does
sex.
husband mean?
Have sex.
Husband.
What,
husband.
it
That's
says
a
literally
husband.
here
Yeah, I know. I understand.
that thou wouldst have her to
Okay,
be
but
unto thy wife.
John, I'm asking you a question. Well, who is this referring to?
It's referring to captive women.
Captive women. So now when she's this you've got a captive woman. Just tell me if this is right or wrong. You've got a captive woman. You take her to your house. to thine house.
Yep. To thine house, yes, beautiful KJV.
And you be her husband.
No.
And you be her husband.
I haven't. No.
Because she's your wife, as it says here.
Bro, let's take it step by step.
slave
Let's do what the
What do you
Bible
mean step by step?
What the Bible said.
These are
What the Bible said.
slave?
No, it said it didn't say that straight away. It said you take the captive, and then you tell the captive to cut the nail off. Correct? To cut the nails.
To pare her nails, because that's what they did traditionally.
I know. And then shave her hair.
Yeah, shave her hair.
I'm asking a question. What if she doesn't want to do any of that?
Doesn't really claim it. Doesn't claim it. Doesn't say you force her.
No problem.
Can you show me where the verse says you force her?
I didn't say. I'm asking you a question.
I believe that it was. Allow me to finish. So I believe it was traditional custom at the time for people in mourning to shave their hair.
Well, most women I know don't want to shave their hair. All right? Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Would you agree with that?
We're not Israelites, bro. I agree with that.
Everyone's
Most women here don't want to shave their hair, correct?
I agree with that. We're not Israelites, bro.
But this is a cultural norm of
This is a
about
cultural norm of
2000
Israel,
Yeah, of
Middle
course.
East.
So now you got a captive.
And now he's
The
going
woman.
to change
No,
this
excuse
one.
me. You got a captive.
But it's like me
No,
saying,
excuse me.
If you're a slave
Let me
woman
finish.
and you have a husband,
Let's just read the Bible, man.
How many?
Don't be scared of the Bible. Don't be scared.
Hijab,
It's
Hijab,
not
the
husband.
same
Right, the
Why
same
are you
point.
putting words into the Bible?
I'm scared
Don't
of
add to the
I'm
Bible.
Hijab, don't be scared of the Bible.
wait,
I was literally reading out
we
to
can
you.
answer him, but I'll throw that question
No,
back
hold on,
regarding
guys,
the captive.
please, because I want,
Yeah, go on.
because I was having a conversation in the first place, right?
Quran, man.
Your Quran has the same problem. For example, it says in Surah 2.
Stop doing two cookie fallacy.
Said-
Deal with your Bible. Like I dealt with my
wait.
Quran, I didn't mention the Bible. did I?
It's
Can
not
you
a
deal
fallacy
with
to
the
point
hadith?
out
He's got a hadith
faults in
that
your
he wants you
religion.
to deal with.
You're
Can you
embarrassing
deal with the
yourself.
hadith?
I already meant the devil with the hadith. Didn't I? I didn't mention the
come
Bible
on.
It
once.
says in
haven't.
chapter 4,
Let's
verse
deal with
24,
this.
that you can take captive women,
and to defend the
even
Bible,
if they're married.
to defend the
And in fact,
Bible, you have
your
to go for the
prophet went
Quran.
on an expedition to Ortas, which is in
So
the
you
Middle
need my
East,
book to
right?
defend yours.
It's not your book, it's
You
hadith.
need my book to defend yours.
It's hadith, mate. Basically, is that your book?
You need, yeah.
Okay,
Hadith's the book.
acceptable then, isn't it?
Yeah,
Your
so
prophet
you're
went
using
out
my book
there
to defend yours.
and they took excellent women
You need the
and they
Bible.
had sex with them without marriage.
Okay, no
What
problem.
this Bible is saying is that you need to marry women in order to have sex
No,
with
actually,
them.
let's see
You
what it
can
says.
have sex with the
Okay,
women,
you're wrong.
What it says is
You're
that.
being a pride high marriage, that's fine.
That's what
You're
they
wrong.
say.
So what it says there is that you can take the captive women, they cut their nails, they shave their head,
They can choose to, yeah.
they wait 1 month, right?
Yeah, 1 month. You don't have sex with them.
Yeah, you don't have sex with them for a month.
Yeah, but your prophet did. He had sex with women straight away.
No, he didn't, and that's a different
Yes, he
topic.
did. We can go to the hadith.
You're
He
scared of
literally
the
did
Bible,
that.
that's why you go to the hadith.
No, you're scared of hadith. That's why you
No,
walk into
I
the
dealt with the
Bible.
hadith for 50 minutes.
No,
You
you
haven't.
didn't deal with
You
it.
didn't deal with
I
anything.
didn't mention Bible
All you
at
did
all.
was
Come
prove
on,
my
you
I didn't
point.
mention Bible at all.
All you did
Bible
was prove
because
my
you
point that
don't deal with
Islam allows pedophilia. That's all you did. It's
Okay.
You
not-
got another hadith
This is a
for
broken
you.
record for us
Hijab,
now.
you got
You're
another
literally,
hadith,
you're
man.
literally
boring.
only. It was a
Come
cult
on, if
first.
you're not
You were
afraid of the
coping,
hadith,
and the
there's
only
another
argument you
one.
had was,
Favorite
oh,
one.
later scholars said this. So your whole religion is based on what other men who didn't know your prophet said.
No problem, thank you very much.
Some random man just come and defend your
that's your
prophet.
strongest
John,
argument. Now
every
look,
boy got a hadith that he's going to deal with next.
all right, so
there's one more.
You're not going to deal with any of my points, sorry.
No, we're talking about, you said it yourself. You said after we deal with the Quran and Hadith, let's go to the Bible. We spent 45 minutes of Quran and
And you
Hadith.
ignored everything I
Now,
said
we're talking
and
about the
ran
Bible,
to
go to the
around
Hadith
Jesus
again.
spoons, which had nothing to do with my religion.
That shows you need the Quran even to defend your own book.
No, really, no.
You need it so much, don't you?
No,
You're obsessed
your
with it.
paradigm is the
You're
Quran.
obsessed with the Quran.
Your paradigm is the Quran.
You're obsessed with
so
the
I'm
Quran.
using that demonic
And you're
book to
obsessed with
show
Muslims.
that
You're obsessed with us.
that your
Admire
religion
us.
promotes pedophilia.
Are you jealous?
Don't ignore it.
Are you jealous?
Answer this question.
I think you're jealous. Why are you talking about the Quran? We're talking about the Bible.
We're jealous of the
You're
book of
scared to mention-
pedophilia, the Quran.
Yeah, well-
we're jealous of that.
Okay,
Even you
whatever.
admitted it's pedophilia. So come
Okay,
on.
no problem.
Even though the Quran says itself
whatever.
that she's a light to all men, and it's a clear guidance, 2:2, and also it's clear.
Okay,
the
you go
book is a
Quran,
clear
Quran,
Arabic,
Quran.
15
We mentioned
verse
the Quran.
1.
Are you scared to talk about the Bible?
So your
Be
own
honest.
Quran.
You're scared to talk about
It's supposed to be
children,
clear.
You're scared to talk about
But
that,
you
right?
said that
You're scared to you're scared to read the Bible,
It's
aren't
the
you?
same argument.
He's scared. He's scared to
You
even
said
read his
your
own book.
clear Quran
He is
that
scared
your
to
God
read
is
his own
saying
book.
is clear ordains pedophilia. That's what we got.
After
Because he
a
says
month,
that in
after
Quran, you can
let me
have
ask you a
sex
question.
with
You're a
the
Christian. I want to ask you
He
and you.
said it
yeah?
himself.
You ask me a question. A Muslim. Can I ask you a question? A Christian.
I've already answered your question.
I want to know a question. Are you scared of answering this
I
question?
already answered
Have
the
you no
question.
question?
You don't like the answer, but
No, I want to ask you a question. So I want to see if I answered it correctly. What Deuteronomy chapter
Oh,
20?
man, this is boring, man.
Okay.
What's
Okay.
going on?
No, but it's boring when we go to the juice of the matter.
No, it's boring when you're not bringing up points.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. My question is, from my understanding of our reading of Deuteronomy chapter 21 verses 10 to 15, is that when a man goes into war and there are captives, women captives,
Right.
and you find them, you get the captives. You don't say to them, would you like to come with? No, you take the captives. So captives mean they're prisoners now. Yeah?
Of course. Israel did that. And your
Excellent.
prophet did it as well. So
Oh,
as it was.
no, so okay, great.
You're in no better
you should,
position, mate.
so you should have no problem.
I've got no problem with the Old
So you
Testament.
should have no problem.
This is New Covenant.
That's my
New
point.
Covenant, New Testament. Don't have a problem.
The prophet did it as well. Anyway,
Your prophet took captives as well.
No,
But
I don't.
my
I don't.
God
I don't deny.
never said you
I
are to
don't deny.
rape women.
I don't.
Your
deny.
God said you can.
Well,
Yeah.
come on.
God said you
So
can.
after
Christianity
you've
is not
taken the
based on
captives,
Old Testament. He
said
keeps
you
bringing up
after-
Old Testament.
after-
Your God
we're
said
not
you
talking
can
about
rape
Quran. We're
women.
talking about the Deuteronomy
Your
now.
God said you can rape women. So you
Well,
should have a problem with us.
I'm saying to you, if you're going to be morally consistent, let's look at your book. That's what I'm saying.
That's
Right.
true.
All right, so if we go to Deuteronomy chapter 21, verses 10 to
Choose
15,
what they did.
it says clearly that you take this woman against her will. She's now a prisoner.
Yeah, she's a captive.
Yeah, she's a captive. Good. Now I like it. Now you're talking the truth. Now you're being sincere.
what it says.
Now you're being ingenuous. Now you're being authentic. Now you're behaving
And
yourself.
you was authentic the whole time.
Now
we're
you're
speaking,
behaving
yeah?
yourself.
No,
That's
no,
fine,
he's
isn't
going
it?
Now you're behaving
You
yourself.
wasn't offended the whole time.
Now he's behaving himself, baby boy.
Why don't you
Isn't he
refute
behaving himself?
Christianity
Get to the
from
point.
behaving.
Yeah,
Could
but
you
let's
stop
get to the
patronising
point.
me and get to the point, please? It's really
No,
dumb.
he's
Oh,
behaving
no.
himself.
So
Yeah,
you
but
don't want
let's
to
say
talk
the
about
point.
you don't want to
He's
talk about the
behaving
Bible.
Okay.
You said I was running from the Bible, and now you don't want to talk
Now
about
let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
So
And
from
stop
what I
being disingenuous. It doesn't help you.
Okay, I fine. We take the woman now against her will as a prisoner, as a captive.
Right.
Now you take her home. She's crying. No, I don't want to be here. Please shut your mouth.
That's what your prophet did.
Right,
Oh.
right, hold on. Shut your mouth.
Your
Well,
prophet literally did it. What is wrong with that, bro? Your prophet did it.
You don't shush her right
let me finish. Let me finish.
All this theatrics is
She's
not helping your religion.
She's wailing. She's crying. Her whatever. No problem.
And Aisha was
Come with
wailing
me.
and crying when Mohammed took her and raped her.
Yeah, well, we're dealing with one thing at a time. We've
We're
already dealt
dealing with
the
one
Quran.
thing at a time.
don't shush
You
her.
can't-
It's okay. One rule for
He's
thee,
triggered.
another rule for me. Here's
See how
what
he's
it is with
triggered?
Islam, isn't
See how
it?
triggered you are?
Double standards,
Oh,
isn't it?
she's crying, begging.
Yeah.
I want to go home.
Aisha was crying. Please don't touch me, Mohammed.
There's no such verse.
Yeah, because she was a baby,
No
wasn't
hadith.
she? She was a baby.
Well, you talk about your mum.
My mum.
Yeah, your mum. Yeah.
Okay, so
But
we're
there's no
now we're
verse like
taking
that in the
my mum.
Bible
This is
either.
what Muslims do.
But
This
there's
is
no
what Muslims do when they
verse
lose their
in the
faith.
Bible either.
You've officially lost this
Yeah, but
debate.
there's no
on
verse
this.
Your
about
mum.
frying people
Okay, my
either.
mum.
So you've made
My mum's a
that up.
beautiful woman.
Yeah, okay. Give her my
She's a
number.
beautiful
Give her my
woman.
number.
She doesn't need your
Give her my
number.
number.
Yeah, but
You're ugly.
no,
She won't want to touch
let's keep to the
Well,
actual
anyway,
people
give her
debate.
my number.
Come on.
And hijab, I'm
No,
not
but
going to stoop to
that's
a
a
level. I'm
diversion.
going to say your mother's
You
a
already
beautiful.
have.
No, hold on. I'm going to say your mother's a beautiful woman.
Good, yeah.
She's a really beautiful
Well,
woman.
I've said the same
Right?
thing about yours. Let me see a picture.
No, no, you said my.
Show me a picture.
You said my mother's ugly.
Can I see your mum?
You don't need to see my mother.
I want to see your mum. She's
say
beautiful.
your
Let me
mum's
see.
beautiful.
Can I see your mum?
Your mother's a beautiful
Can I
woman.
see what she looks like?
I'm saying that. Your mother's a
Can I
beautiful
see?
Come
woman.
on.
Can I see your mum?
You don't need to see my mum.
I want to see your mum, please.
You don't need to see my
I
mum.
want to see her.
Why are you winking at me, bro? There's something
I
wrong
want
with
to see your mum.
you. You don't need to see
All
my
right.
mum.
Moving on.
The mum jokes are not helping you.
Yes, I
all
like it.
all you're doing is
Now
looking
move
like
on.
a toddler. You
No
do realise
problem.
that.
Okay. So
I
the
got that
Bible
stuff in year
says,
two.
Bible
You
says,
didn't
Bible
realise that.
says, you take now the woman against her will.
So you're back on the topic.
Yes, we are.
So why are you talking to him then? He has nothing to do with the topic. You're talking to me.
Fine.
Focus on me.
Fine, no problem. I'll
Okay.
focus on you.
Good.
And if you like, I'll focus on your mum as well.
I'll
Now,
focus on your mum as well.
Yeah, you can try.
Because I like your mum. She's a decent
You've
woman.
already spoken about
Your
my
mother's a
prophet.
decent
Anything
woman.
above that is a non-sequitur.
No, I don't care. Your mother's a decent woman and I like her.
You don't even know what she
Because
looks like.
I'm not.
She might be a Hitler.
Oh, so she's Hitler. You believe your mother's Hitler?
Did I
You
say
believe
that?
your mother's Hitler?
Did I say that, yeah?
You actually believe that?
So you
dude?
take now,
Oh,
the
man.
captive is taken.
Wow, that's perfect.
Take the captive by
Yeah,
the hand.
like Mohammed
Yeah?
did.
Now she's screaming, she's wailing.
Yeah, like
Now you tell her, shave your hair off.
You got
I
nothing
don't want to
else?
shave my hair. I like my look.
Does it say-
Shut
does
your
it say she
mouth
was
and
forced
shave
to?
your hair.
The
Is that
Bible
all you
doesn't
got?
say she was forced to do anything.
Kinky stuff going on.
Come on, hijab.
What, have you got a whip now? If
The
she
Bible
doesn't, I'll go
nowhere
ask a
says
question.
that you are to force women to shave their heads. You've got that wrong. You assume that's what it says in
What
the
if
verse.
she says no?
It doesn't say that in the verse.
But it says that what does the Bible say about, excuse me, what does the Bible say about disobedient slaves?
What does the Bible say? Which verse? Go to chapter verse. I don't know what's funny, bro.
What does the Bible say about disobedient
You'll find
slaves?
something funnier than
What can you do to a Bible, to a slave if they're disobedient? If you tell them to
You
do
can
something,
be a slave, yeah.
you can be the slave. Oh, thank you very much. So now the Bible here, the captive, she's being disobedient.
But
You take your
those
whip out.
rules were for Hebrews only. So yeah, Hebrews only, not aliens.
Spank!
And you would have to free Hebrew slave in 7
Okay,
years.
I'll cut my hair off.
And that's what Muhammad did to Aisha.
She should do what you're about to do with your hair. Cut your hair
Aisha
off.
was beaten by Muhammad.
I'll ask you a
Aisha was
question.
beaten by
So what's the
Muhammad.
point?
When your hair was cut, part of it
Allah
is cut, part
allows
of it is not
for
cut.
little girls to be taken
Were
and
you
raped
part of
by
this
the
process?
Prophet.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Now, after she's now 1 month in the house, we're sure that she doesn't have
You're
any...
not bringing a point, Hijab.
No, that's why I'm trying to understand
No,
the Bible.
you're assuming what the Bible says. I've already read what it says.
What does it say?
I went to
After a month, what can you do
22.
after a month?
You can marry the woman.
No, can you do something else?
You can have sex with someone you've married.
Okay, beautiful.
Because she becomes
She's
your
a
wife.
slave that has had her hair shaven off.
And then after a
and
month-
her, and her nails cut.
and after a month, you
And
can marry
now you can defile her the way you like.
No, you can't. So let's go to the verse again.
What do you think about that?
What do I think about that?
Is that morally abhorrent?
You coming from some kind of higher moral... Don't ignore him. You coming from some... Ignore him, bro.
About what?
Ignore him.
What do you think
No,
about
it's
that?
the theatrics.
What do you
The
think about
theatrics.
About what?
Like,
About you can have
people
sex
are
with
So the
listening.
Bible doesn't
Where
say...
does it say that?
you
Where does it
take
say that?
captive women and
We don't need
How about
the
husbands? How about husbands?
22,
Ladies
that
and
you can
gentlemen,
actually marry a woman
as we can see
and
here,
then you would have sex with
been
her.
done.
I'm not talking.
The moral argument that this man has put forward.
This guy has not built any argument to my point.
I'm done with you.
You're done with me because you're scared. You didn't want to go to the hadith.
I'm
Your
done with you.
prophet,
Is there anything
you
else you want?
literally admitted on camera
Okay, yeah.
that it's okay
Alright,
to have
so yeah,
sex
no
with
problem.
children.
Yeah, okay,
That's your
whatever.
religion, though.
No.
So now you're just copying.
Are you here to give me your mum's number?
No, I'm here to give you. Wait, if you want
Can I have
my
your mum's number, please?
Can I have your mum's number?
07.
Can I have your mother's number?
No, that's all right. I want
Okay,
yours.
I don't want to
Show me a
give you
picture of
mine.
her. What she look like?
She's not interested in you, mate.
Let's find out.
She's not interested in you.
find out.
She's not interested in
I
you.
want to find out if your mum will be interested.
Right, so now you're doing mum jokes. Is that it?
No, yeah,
Is that all you've got?
You're talking about
Because
prophet
your
and this
religion
and
was created by a
paedophile. Talk about your mum.
paedophile. That's why we're talking about mums right
With
now.
the
Is that it?
people of the scripture, unless it's in a
And
befitting
if I have a
way.
child with your mum, he won't come out like you.
You're a funny guy, bro. You're a funny guy, bro. Oh, your prophet was shaking. Your prophet was shaking, though, wasn't he? Your prophet was shaking. He shook when he received revelations, didn't he?
That's what maybe-
I know it hurts, bro. He shook when he received revelations, didn't he? He was shaking and he was sweating.
Scrubbing, aren't you?
Why? He
Huh?
was better than demon in the cave.
I'm scared of him.
yeah.
I've never been scared of
That's
anybody in my
demon
life.
Father-in-law.
in the cave, man.
Really?
I'm going to be your father-in-law.
I'm gonna be your daddy, mate.
Anyway, father-in-law.
I'm your father. You know, like Sarah said to you.
Yeah,
I'm your daddy.
I might be your father-in-law.
I'm your daddy, bro.
Yeah? And deal with your mum in a very nice way. Don't worry, I'll do
I'll
it.
deal with your mum in the very
Ah,
nice.
yeah.
I'll buy her
I'll
food.
take her to shave her
I'll
hair.
take her out.
Anyway,
I'll buy a drink.
shave her hair like it says in the Bible.
What's the name of the demon he met in the cave?
It was a nice conversation, Hijab. I'm sorry it turned out like this.
One more there.
Yeah, he's saying it's suck out. That's what he's talking about. I thought you went. Sorry, you can talk to the camera. You can talk to the camera. Yeah, you can talk to the camera. No, don't.
Yeah, we're done here.
You want to talk about mum? That's fine.
Yeah, he's scared now about his mum. Freedom of speech. You want to use
Yeah, you can say what you want. My mother's a beautiful woman. I don't care.
Well, let me see that.
You don't need to see your mum. You don't need to see your mum. I want to see your mother.
No, it's okay. I'll show you mine.
Is this what we call intellectual discourse? Shut up, man.
You don't need to.
Like the Muslims here are listening to people inciting befitting. I'm saying.
Because his religion was started by people. No, it's what they do.
You're watching.
No, it's not what they do.
I'm saying.
When they fail.
That's the new.
Jesus Christ is Lord! Jesus Christ is Lord! Jesus Christ is Lord! Jesus Christ is Lord!
How about this?
What happened to you not asking?
I'm not fighting. I'm a lover, not fire. Seriously, not fighting. Seriously, I'm not fighting.
Do not argue.
Hijab.
Save in the best way.
Because I care about your well-being. Hijab. I don't want to fight.
Look at you walking around when you just
Anyway, I should just say Hijab was resorted to attacking my mother because he's got no wife.
Mum's a sweet one.
Yeah, that's cool. This is